since the transfer portal has opened, not only has the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Prime definitely gotten a commitment out of the transfer portal, but they're losing some players as well. I think it's something we should talk about. But before we dive into it, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you all are thinking down in the comments below. Colorado fans, you might know more than me, but do you think this is a big loss for the University of Colorado and maybe even the depth that this team needed going into this next season? But in Coach Prime's first year of being at the University of Colorado, I don't think anybody expected there to not be transfers. Well, since the transfer portal window has opened, we have about, I think it was like 6 or so transfers already hitting the portal. And what does this mean? Well, it's simple. I don't think it's anything for Colorado fans to be too concerned about, because if you're a Colorado Buff fan and you see these guys hitting the portal, they might not be cultural fits for what Coach Prime wants to do at the University of Colorado. And that's not saying they're bad dudes. They just might not be the guys to play in Coach Prime or Sean Lewis's or Charles Kelly's system at that school. But first, we are going to start with Tyus Martin, a defensive lineman, a true freshman, 6'4", 340-pound kid out of Helena, Arkansas. In 2022, he had 13 total tackles, 8 solos. This was a guy that, hey, you know what? At least he had some production, but I don't know if he will be too missed, especially with what the Colorado Buffs were able to take on the defensive line so far. And we know that Coach Prime, Charles Kelly, they're probably going to team up a little bit with Nick Williams and go out there and try to get some guys out of the transfer portal during this window. But you also got a guy in Ryan Williams, another freshman out of Pearland, Texas, 6'3", about 275 pounds. He had 7 total tackles, 5 solos. Again, not a whole lot of production. He played in the Utah game, the Oregon game, Arizona State, UCLA, Minnesota. And yeah, I mean, those were the games that he got to play in. He got good game experience against those teams. But, I mean, if you're Colorado, you're getting blown out in most of those anyways, so it was garbage time during a lot of those games. Then you had Chance Main, actually a senior on this team, a defensive end, 6'4", 255 pounds out of Cherryvale, Kansas. In 2022, he had 27 total tackles, 17 solos, a half of a sack, a fumble recovery. So this is a guy that actually had production. So this one might sting a little bit more than the others, but I don't think it'll be too big of a loss for Charles Kelly, Nick Williams, and Coach Prime. I think they'll figure it out. Additionally, you saw Keyshawn Mills hit the transfer portal, a guy that committed in 2021, being a part of that 2022 class out of Little Elm, Texas. 6 foot, 190-pound cornerback, didn't really play, but he says that he is intended to enter the transfer portal. Again, you're looking at guys like Caden Ludwig, a former 3-star linebacker, JL Stocks, a 3-star running back who, probably not going to be starting in over Cavassier Smoke or another one of those guys. Austin Smith, a 6'5", 220-pound tight end out of Elmonton, Texas, former 3-star there. You have Janaz Jordan, a 3-star defensive lineman out of Hampton, Virginia. And that's really about it. If you look at what the Colorado Buffs are losing, it's not a whole lot, but we do expect the Colorado Buffs to potentially go into the transfer portal and definitely try to get more out of there. But who do the Colorado Buffaloes go into the transfer portal and get? I've seen a bunch of you guys jump down in the comments below and say Bear Alexander. Well, that would be a good pick, except for the fact that we know that's going to come down to an NIL battle. And I don't know if Colorado quite necessarily at this moment has the funds to go out there and get an NIL battle with Texas A&M, Texas, or even USC. I'm very weary on Oklahoma. I know people are saying Oklahoma's in this race, but I'm wary of it. So it's not me saying he's going to come to Oklahoma. Just an FYI for you Colorado fans. But there are definitely great options on the defensive line. Outside of Bear Alexander, you had another guy recently hit the portal from Arizona State, somebody in your own conference, Robbie Harrison. That could potentially be a take because, well, he's familiar with your conference. So familiar with other teams, hey, Andy maybe could give you a little bit of insights there. Corey Roberson, a guy that just entered the transfer portal from Oklahoma, actually had some production here at Oklahoma, just not last year during Brent Venables' first year in his era. I guess that's how you say it. Additionally, you've got guys like, who did I see? There was a guy from Auburn, Jeffrey Imba. This is a guy that I actually would like Oklahoma to potentially look at, but hey, could be a potential grab for the University of Colorado, especially as you try to not only build depth, but just try to create some competition in that locker room. You've got Demorian Alexander, a guy that is entering the transfer portal from Kansas, or maybe you could go out to Florida State and look at a guy like a Derek McLendon II. He's actually a three-star edge rusher, or former three-star edge rusher. So there's a lot of options. There is a lot of options, and I think the Colorado Buffaloes could have a good direction to go if they look in the transfer portal and decide to go that way. But we'll just have to see what Coach Prime is thinking, and we're not going to know what he's thinking till he decides to do it. But Colorado fans, jump down in the comments below. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Are you worried at all about all of these guys heading to portal, or are you not really concerned? Additionally, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like and the subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think about the show.